Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're scaling the mythological heights of the Himalayas. Now, sure, when I say Himalayas, your mind probably jumps straight to Mount Everest or Mount Kailash, but today, we're totally bypassing the usual tourist trails. Instead, we are going to uncover the lesser-known, highly guarded mysteries that are buried deep in native texts and secret expedition logs.
So ask yourself, what really lies hidden within the world's highest mountain range? I mean, for millennia, these peaks have been revered as the actual home of deities. But if you peel back the mythology, you'll find physical anomalies and classified expeditions that completely defy modern science. We're talking about everything from impossible spiritual states to literal skeletons tumbling out of the ice.
All right, let's get into it. Section 1. Tukdam, 200 Years of Meditation.
We're kicking things off with the wild story of a Tibetan monk whose physical body has reportedly been dissolving into the 5 elements for over 2 centuries. He's in what's known as the Tukdam state. And look, this isn't some fleeting New Age trend, this is a 10,000-year-old discipline. It's actually so baffling that Western scientists have launched a study called the Tukdam Project, just to figure out how a meditating monk's body can physically shrink while they remain fundamentally alive in this deep trance.
Check out how this ancient practice actually progresses. It starts with the monk reaching the absolute peak of deep meditation. From there, physics kind of just breaks down. The physical body literally begins to shrink, dissolving into elemental forces. And this all builds up to a final stage where the physical form is said to just vanish completely.
Right, so in this final stage, what they call the rainbow body, the physical form is completely gone. Ancient texts claim that all that's left is a spirit manifesting as pure, 7-colored light. And here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. When a monk achieves this liberation, their spirit is said to travel to a highly guarded, mythical destination known as the Land of Immortals.
Which brings us right to Section 2, Gyanganj, City of Immortals.
So that Land of Immortals is supposedly a hidden Himalayan city where no one ever dies. And get this, despite our advanced GPS and high-res satellites, it remains entirely invisible to modern instruments. Depending on which ancient text you're reading, it goes by Shangri-La, Shambhala, or Siddhistram. But today, it's most famously known as Gyanganj. It's legendary, it's prophesied to house the guru of the Kaki avatar, and it has absolutely captivated both spiritual seekers and global intelligence agencies. If you really want to understand the global obsession with Gyanganj, you just need to look at the eerie 1920 expedition of Russian explorers Nicholas and Helena Roerich. Sent on a classified mission by the USA, they spent 5 grueling years searching the Himalayas for this exact city. Then, out of nowhere, they vanished without a trace. 12 months later, they miraculously reappeared, quiet, fundamentally altered, and guarding a highly secretive diary of their missing year.
Well, when intelligence agencies finally decoded those recovered diaries, the claims were staggering. The entries described a monk who led them to a secret water-filled underground cave, the alleged gateway to Gyanganj. But actually, scratch that. The craziest part isn't the cave. When they were interrogated, Nicholas and Helena had absolutely no memory of this gateway. They didn't even remember writing those entries in their own diary.
So, you're probably wondering, why is it so elusive? Well, Swami Vishuddhananda Paramahansa, the guy who first brought Gyanganj to public attention, explained that the city acts as a sort of spiritual fortress. It exists, for sure, but it only reveals itself to those who are completely devoid of deceit and possess absolute spiritual purity. It's basically the ultimate VIP room, and modern technology simply isn't on the guest list.
Okay, moving on to Section 3, Rupkund, Mysterious Lake of Skeletons. Let's step out of the spiritual realm for a second and into harsh physical reality. We're looking at a geographical anomaly that doesn't require spiritual purity to see. You just need the stomach to look at what the ice leaves behind. This is Rupkund Lake, sitting at a staggering 16,500 feet. It's frozen solid almost all year round. But back in 1942, a British forest ranger stumbled upon a seriously grisly secret right beneath the ice.
Because during that tiny window, when the ice actually thaws, the lake reveals its horror. Bam! Between 600 and 800 human skeletons just float to the surface. And thanks to the extreme freezing temperatures, a lot of these remains emerge with perfectly preserved flesh still attached. Eventually, wolves and scavengers braving the snow show up, leaving behind this massive scattered bone pile that you can see today. So how exactly do hundreds of people die all at once at 16,500 feet? Well, the source text and modern historians are completely divided on this.
Theory A points to a sudden, freak natural disaster. Theory B argues they were a massive group of religious pilgrims caught in a lethal blizzard. And Theory C suggests they were an ancient military expedition wiped out in the cold. The most baffling part of the whole shebang? We still have zero definitive proof. It remains one of the greatest unsolved forensic mysteries on Earth. Finally, let's hit Section 4, Yeti and the rare Hanuman flower. To wrap up this explainer, we gotta talk about the impossible life forms that actually managed to survive up here. Moving way beyond local folklore, we have official documented reports from Indian Army soldiers. Now these are highly trained observers, and they have photographed massive, totally unexplained footprints in the snow, which lends some serious credibility to the idea that the Yeti, this giant elusive primate, might actually be perfectly adapted to this unforgiving environment.
And it's not just the fauna, it's the flora too. Adding to the region's mystique is this crazy botanical marvel, the Hanuman Pushpa. Visually, it resembles the Hindu deity Lord Hanuman, but its life cycle is what's truly mind-blowing. It only blooms once every 20 years. I mean, imagine waiting 2 decades for your garden to flower. While modern botany has recently figured out how to cultivate it down at lower altitudes, spotting one naturally blooming in the wild Himalayan peaks is essentially like finding a needle in a frozen haystack.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you to ponder this one question. We've looked at meditating monks literally defying biology, invisible cities sought by international spies, an unexplained lake full of skeletons, and the snowy footprints of giants. So, are the Himalayas just a massive collection of rock and ice, or are they the ultimate vault of the unexplained, just waiting for us to discover more? Thanks for exploring with me, and keep seeking those answers.